All right. Before I even get to doing my thing, I want y'all niggas to know that this is what dedication be looking like. I ain't gotta be perfect, and I ain't trying to be perfect for none of y'all niggas. You understand me? I'm just doing the work. But one thing I'm not gonna let you niggas do is be absolved of doing that work. I'm just using the N word so you can relate to me, so you can have a little more grit. Over here is hashtag getting our hands dirty. We out here getting our hands dirty. You see my hands? Hold on, you see? Hold on. Just go this way, this way. You see my hands? Getting our hands dirty. You understand? It's our year. This is what you thought about. This is what you dreamed of your whole life. When you was at home in a room filled with posters from Vibe magazine, King magazine. Maybe Us if you into that kind of thing. You dream of this time. You see who I got on the screen. You see who I got on the goddamn Summer Jam screen. It's the GOAT. Who has now turned into. Yo, how you turn to a cautionary tale? Let me tell you something. You are cooked. If you ever become somebody's cautionary tale, especially at the end of life, when ain't that made more like new possibilities, that's tough. Okay? And Vivica A. Fox has become a cautionary tale. She went from being the baddest chick. I can remember Vivica in her prime. Vivica was kind of old when I was young. You know what I mean? You gotta be, because you like 60 now. I didn't know Vivica was 60 years. I'm like, God damn, 60? Woo! Yeah. I had to shift around when I saw that shit. But anywho, I know I'm cussing more than usual, but my bad. My goodness gracious. Like I keep saying that I come from a good family. I keep saying I'm a proper gentleman, but I guess not. Because where my manners, it's the 6 path commandments. 6 path dice here. Mr. Lane, if you need me. How y'all doing? Y'all know what we getting ready to do, baby. We getting ready to break some shit down. Okay? I listen, I'll turn shit with no lines in it. You can see the block and see no lines. And we gonna play a little Jenga. All right, you gotta see the lines between the lines. And right now, before we get into the subject at hand, we gotta go to the GOAT, the goddamn GOAT of I used to be fine. Now look at me. Now I'm joking. Anywho.
I want someone that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That's not intimidated by who and what I am.
Yeah.
That likes to travel.
Yeah.
Going to let me go shopping.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like you just spoke it into existence.
I hope so, girlfriend.
I feel like you.
So you got, and I'm taking applications.
Oh,
so you got a friend.
Okay.
I'm good.
We'll be all.
And I don't discriminate. He can be. I'm not against different nationalities. And you know that too. When I say a partner, I want someone that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That's not.
Full disclosure, I could have easily found the original clip when I saw Angry Manning. That's what I'm talking about.
Intimidated by who and what I am.
Yeah.
That likes to travel.
Yeah.
Gonna let me go shopping.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like you just spoke it into existence.
I hope so, girlfriend.
I feel like you.
So you got, and I'm taking applications.
Oh,
so you got a friend.
Okay.
I'm good.
We'll be all.
And I don't discriminate. He can be. I'm not against different nationalities. And you know that too. And I.
Shout out to the GOAT, man. The GOAT Vivica. Shout out to you and all that you do. We are grateful to you and all you do. But now I brought her up too because I brought Vivica because one is funny. It's not funny, but it's more like, damn. You know, damn. But she's just. Well, not a catalyst. That video complements the next thing that we getting ready to look at, beloveds. Hold on, man. Let's go ahead and get it out of here. Let's go ahead and get to this shit. Nicki Minaj posted a very cryptic tweet on Twitter X and says, "Yes, single." Now, one can only assume she's talking about her husband, Kenneth Petty. A few years ago, I think about what, 5-6 years ago. I guess this is someone that she knew from a childhood, and she knew him from her neighborhood, and he was locked up for a long time. And he basically got released from jail, I guess about 6-7 years ago. And they became boyfriend and girlfriend, and they got married. Now, no one really knew much about this guy, so I want to kind of show you guys what it's been like for Nicki, or the kind of headline she's been associated with being married to this man. Now, I'm not one. Now, get me wrong. I think that it's interesting how we used to think about relationships. Now, and I think a lot of young men, a lot of men in general, have this notion that, well, she's attractive and she has a lot of options, so therefore, whatever man she chooses, it must be something very special about that man, or he must be very whatever it is, right? And what's interesting about this era is that this is another like tale. Well, I guess let's say cautionary tale, but a very interesting tale, and we'll get into the whole title in a moment. But the reason why this relates to the first video is because of waiting too late and overplaying certain hands and not recognizing someone's potential and being too caught up in the ego. And also, a lot of people have a hard time understanding that when someone's attractive, they can still be a shitty person. They can be a crappy person. I think we know that. But overall, just over the years, it's judging by because Nicki Minaj has social media and is able to speak. Now, mind you, I can remember back when she first started getting really big, and I think she did an interview with Complex, and it was over interview. And I remember now, mind you, people who work at Complex aren't the most hood savvy people. So if you're not from the hood, certain personality types are going to be weird to you. You'll be easily intimidated, or you won't really understand the person because you're not from the culture. But even in the interview, Nicki Minaj was coming across as mean and very egotistical. And I remember, I can remember parts of the interview where she's being very aggressive, and this is through print, okay? Where she's not answering certain questions. She's aggressively not answering certain questions. An interesting thing I remember seeing is there was a clip from, I forget what the show was called, but basically it was a mini documentary done by MTV before her first album came out. And she made this point about, when a man does it, he's a boss, and when a woman does it, she's a bitch. What she's talking about in terms of how you handle business and how you carry yourself and whatnot. And the reason why it's relevant is because those are the mutterings of people who do not, you got to think about what that means. Now, on the Six Paths Commandments on Six Paths TV, we use my 15, 16 years of experience working with different populations to break down these behaviors. When someone talks like that, that's their way of saying, F you, I'm not going to be a better person. You just going to have to deal with me as I am. Narc behavior. Another characteristic of a narc, or another behavior, what I like to call, what I like to categorize as narc behavior. And a lot of people who are into anything that's creative, people who want to get into management, people who want to own a business, they want to work themselves into a position where they don't have to be a good person. Let's think about that. Let's think about it. Okay. And it's relevant because, again, this is modern women activity. And this is the path it leads you to. Because, again, no value system. Even in the music, I remember Joe Budden was basically kind of reading these tweets that Nicki Minaj had between herself and someone else. She'll be getting into fights on Twitter. This is back in 2018ish and whatnot, right? And someone said, with Nicki Minaj pushing 40, it would be dope to hear her rap about different things and to hear more mature content. And Nicki responded and said being 30, 34 is pushing 40. And then she says, my bad, I'm 30. I think she was 35, 36. One of those at the time, but I think that she was I think she was 35 or so. You know what I mean? No, she was 34. She's 34. Then she tweeted, my bad, I'm 35. Whatever. It don't matter. But totally missed the point. And she's going back and forth with this girl. And the girl made a valid point about, yeah, it'd be dope to hear you rap about something different besides, just saying random punchlines about how bitches is your sons. That's it. That's mostly Nicki's story is bitches is I'm the baddest, and bitches and somehow women are your sons. And there's I had to realize, what? I guess it's like a thing that has to happen. Like she has to have a bar about women being her sons, despite the gender. I mean, listen, I fuck with it, but I'm just like, damn, you know what I mean? But I want you guys to see how everything's connected, how the lack of work is connected. Because the thing is, it actually takes courage to be a nice person. It takes strength. It takes strength to be a nice person. It takes strength to push. It's why it's called putting your pride aside. It takes strength to not be arrogant when you're in a position of power. It takes strength. It's not easy. That's why it takes strength. It takes strength to put yourself out there. It takes strength to, again, like I said, exercise compassion and hear someone out and give someone the same patience you want them to give you. That takes strength. But if I have the mindset of, for one, desiring things that are not for me. When Nicki made that comment about when a woman does it, she's a bitch, and when a man does it, he's a boss. Basically, it's talking about, I guess, being assertive and being aggressive and whatnot. What she was saying, again, that I guess you can call it penis envy. It is very detrimental to your development for you to want to be able to do what the opposite sex does. Most men don't have a desire to be laid up somewhere chilling and just watching the kids and not having to worry about working. Most men don't feel like, I don't want to ever have to pick up a heavy thing. Most men don't want, because he knows that means he's not strong. Because men have to be strong in some kind of way. And the first level of strength is being sufficient and disciplined. Okay. But when men do desire what women get, which is, covering in terms of how a woman gets it, mostly monetary provision, you know what I mean? And also desiring collaboration too much. Men have to be able to complete solo missions. I think men should that's why men should find groups they want to be a part of that are honorable, like something with your church, something like a fraternity. All those things help to develop character and the ability to work within systems and by yourself. If you were a lone wolf and whatnot, or you're someone who's not that social, you need that shit because it's going to be hard for you to self-correct and understand others. If you can't understand others, you probably don't understand yourself. Because y'all both are human beings. So if you say you can't understand another human being, you don't understand yourself either. All right. I know I'm kind of, we building right now. We building. Because we get into how did Nicki Minaj go from having out basically going down further and further and further. So a lot of people didn't know. One moment. I wanted to grab this clip or a few clips of Safari. Well, Safari was Nicki Minaj's longtime boyfriend. So she was in a long-term relationship with this man. And we're going to go through a few different clips and kind of go through this relationship real quick before we kind of get to our end game and we get to why Drake wins again. Light-skinned ninjas winning. Black men winning. Shout out to Uncle D. Shout out to the Blizzard King. Right? So you will always be punished for pursuing or wanting things that are not for you. A man thrives most when he's making something out of nothing. when he's conquering adversity, because when we go through these experiences, for one, you learn how to self-correct. The idea is that I go through this experience one time and I should make it to where it doesn't happen again. The other day, I was teaching my son about what it means to have an emergency. An emergency is something that happens that you're not prepared for. So my battery died. I'm gonna tell you right now, yo, fam, I was just thinking the other day, like, man, I cannot afford no big repairs right now. All right, and I was dropping my brother off for his doctor's visit for his broken leg and whatnot. It was crazy how I was protected in that moment, son. The car battery died when we got to the front door. I'm like, yo, I ain't got to worry about shit. I ain't worried about nothing. You can't. I'm a spiritual warrior, son. Can't touch me. Now I'm your ring get killed. Yeah, now I'm gonna get killed. Anywho, so, but what happened was, I got to jump right. The next day, when we get to the barbershop, perfect timing. Because my car has start-stop. So when I stop, I'm stopping in traffic, the car cuts off. And already had, basically the car basically was trying to shut off before through that function. So I turned it off. I was smart. And I had a suspicion that I think this start-stop thing drains the battery a little bit. But anywho, so and even then we wound up being the shit died when we parked at the barbershop. It was crazy. So perfect timing. But anywho, I had insurance and I called them initially to get a jump, and I was going to go straight to the store to get a new battery. And no, they said they would come out and do it, and they said, well, we actually can sell you a battery. You can buy it from us on the spot. You know what I mean? And we'll put the battery in and everything. Cool. And I was explaining to my brother and my son, I said, yo, what if I ain't had this? Or what if I wasn't prepared for this situation? What if I had no insurance? And again, I would have figured it out and everything. I would have got a jump and got to the auto zone, but but if I didn't plan for this shit, you know what I mean? You know? So, anywho, men become their best selves through trial and error, and also recognizing when the mission is a solo mission. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with supporting a woman and what she wants to do, but you can't. But again, certain dynamics just don't work. So, for the most part, we knew Safari for being Nicki Minaj's hype man. He never was in no interviews talking crazy or talking like he was way more than what he was. He never said, I'm the best rapper in the world. He just seemed like he just a regular nigga. You know what I'm saying? And when they broke up was when he actually started to speak and doing interviews. I remember him being on the Breakfast Club wearing a whole mink coat or a whole fur. And now that I'm older, I feel him because he was trying to warm up, man. He was cold. And what had happened was when he broke up with Nicki Minaj, when she broke up with him, his identity was now shattered. He didn't know who he was. You can tell that he's trying to figure out who he is. And he didn't have that figured out before he met her. You look at the relationship so differently as a man when you have gone through your own adversity by yourself. But if you always been with someone, right, or you always been with this woman, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, again, how she sees you. And a lot of times women will kind of see you as the version they started off with, and you can be getting better. But a lot of times, you know, with a girl like this, she was never interested in helping Safari to have his own life. And maybe Safari didn't want to have his own life. Maybe in his mind, he thought, yo, you know, and listen, Safari a little older than me. So to a certain degree, like he represents that this is part of our generational mindset. It's changed, but it used to be a little bit of a flex if you can get women to spend any kind of money on you. Now, don't get me wrong, it still is, right? But not in a way where like you rely on her. It should be like a nice thing she's doing for you, or she want to do a nice thing for you, or it should be something that, you know, where she helps you, not does the work for you or does your job. All right. You're supposed to be able to provide your own order so you can give her order as well. You know what I'm saying? So in a situation like this right here, obviously Nicki was the leader of the relationship and he took on a supporting role. And again, you do have to know when to support. And don't get me wrong, he was right maybe in doing so because he hitched his wagon to the right star, the right horse, right? Because we probably wouldn't know who he is if he didn't know when to support. But this is also someone who got too comfortable. So I want to go ahead and play his recollection of what it was like to be in, because he was originally in a rap group with Nicki Minaj and a guy named 7 Up. What's interesting about how they're going to talk about him is the fact that why was y'all in a group with him if y'all thought he wasn't good? And what does that say about y'all character? Or somebody lying? Anywho, let's go ahead and get into this clip.
The semester started and I was supposed to be in Tilden. If she would have never did that, I would have never met the Millwood High School. I would have never met him. The whole group thing would have never happened. And God knows where else, you know what I'm saying? All of this would have ended up. So it's just crazy.
So you got introduced to 7 Up and Nicki.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how was the chemistry in the beginning with all three of y'all?
It was fun. Like we used to have a ball. Like it was really genuinely fun. The internet didn't exist back then.
Right.
It was just making music, listening to our stuff, being in the studio all day, all night.
Right. And, for those who don't know, Full Force is a real serious production crew.
Yeah.
Like, they did like Britney Spears,
they did NSYNC,
Backstreet Boys. Like they're responsible for hundreds of millions of albums.
What's the lady Lisa, right?
Lisa, the Cult Jam. Yeah. They were in House Party.
Yeah, of course. That's what they're really known for.
They have they have a very kind of interesting, story. And I've worked with them before. They're really dope.
Yeah,
they're really, really dope.
And they're from Brooklyn.
So now you're thrown into this group.
Mm-hmm.
And what starts happening over the next few months?
Well, the next few years we just start.
Next few years, okay.
Yeah, because we were in the group for like a few years. We just was just working on stuff. Like we didn't even people weren't making mixtapes and putting it out. We just were recording and we just were like trying to get deals. We used to have meetings. Well, we didn't have meetings. People would have meetings on our behalves, and we would pop up at the meetings and burst in the office and be performing like.
And this is interesting because, you listen now, you heard his recollection. Now, this is someone that he didn't have he didn't leave off on a good note with these people, right? And listen to how he tells the story. He talks about the story as if it's a fond memory, as if he still sees the positive in that experience. But dynamics are important, and also again, there's no way that Nicki wasn't showing what her character was like. This is also he is a good example again. When men are too caught up in their own vanity or being too vain, they're not really as aware. And again, because it's hard to be vain and also develop being masculine, your masculinity as well. So I want to play this clip of Nicki Minaj talking about their time together. I found the beloveds. Hold on, y'all. Let me find the window.
We all laughed at him at Safari because he I'm not trying to be funny. He couldn't rap. He couldn't rap.
I didn't mean to ask the question. He took an L. This is going bad.
He couldn't rap. So what's? Hey, Louis.
Oh shit.
That's good.
Damn. I know this is so odd. I happen to be on Funkmaster Flex show right now.
Sorry, I didn't mean guys is bad.
You hear me?
Did you hear me?
So let me tell you what he just asked me.
Oh shit.
He said, "Explain to me Safari's role in the group at that time."
He was the hype man.
He was the hype man, okay? Now, Louis, and I want you to put this on your mother's soul and your life.
Oh God.
Have you, he has 2 kids, his kids. Mm-hmm. Have you ever known any man, including Safari, to write raps for me?
Never. You wouldn't even keep no idea.
In the group,
That's his reward for all that shit. Like that's it. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I mean, listen. I don't know what went on. Honestly, when I first heard Safari rap, I could tell like, nah, y'all. I could tell they used to rap together because he was rapping like Nicki. They it's a very like similar style, and like it's interesting she says that shit, but he says things that you would say. If you ever hear Safari rap, he says the kind of things that she would say. So what's always interesting about Nicki is that her music, she stopped really having hits after her and Safari weren't like together because he was a part of making the music. Everyone may not necessarily be a superstar or be super talented in one area, but elements matter. The story matters, right? How it comes together matters because again, certain songs. Listen, there's always secret ingredients. All right, always a secret ingredient. Safari was obviously her secret ingredient because her music was never necessarily as good or as important again. Now I think like she's had records and stuff like that, but it didn't feel how it felt in the beginning. And the raps, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I thought something the raps wasn't hitting for a long time. I'm like, I don't know, I don't like this shit. You feel me? But anywho, and I want to go to the relationship with Drake and Nicki, and I want to play a few clips real quick. All right, here we go.
I've had a flirtatious relationship for a long time, with ups and downs along the way. As far back as his 2010 debut album, Thank Me Later, Drake's admiration for Nicki was documented.
I love Nicki Minaj. I told her I'd admit it. I hope one day we get married just to say we did it.
Throughout the 2010s, evidence of the chemistry between Drake and Nicki was found on stage, in interviews, over Instagram lives, and in more lyrics. They never confirmed a romantic relationship, leaving fans to only speculate about their flirty friendship.
Nah, don't stop, you see this shit?
I could stay like that all day.
But you know what? The one thing I can always do is count on you.
Always.
The people love you. You the people's motherfucking champ.
I don't know a nigga that could cover for me. Yeah, I got some game from my day. So she might say she love me, she don't love me like she said she love me. Believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me. I'm that nigga that ain't love me in the street. In the street. I'm not trying to find nobody else to be. I'm the one that
Drake made fun of his security guard in front of everyone.
Hopefully they don't flag the video for that. Anywho, I wanted to play a few more clips, man. There's a lot of music. Come on, I gotta stop playing music in this shit, man. Come on now, you gotta knock it off. But you guys kind of get the point, right? This pattern. This is like while like she's in a relationship with Safari, and she's doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is during their relationship. So this was like a thing that he had to deal with was like also him doing like just basically her behaving like the man in their relationship. And after that, she's with Meek Mill, and then she got with her husband, Kenneth Petty. Let's go ahead and get into Beloved real quick.
And could be again. Apparently, the way the show is going today, we did not have enough time to get to Nicki Minaj's brother. But let me tell you something, Nicki. That's going to be my first story tomorrow, and I'm going to lead with this. You should have never married him. Because now you've ruined everything about what your brand could be. Again, you're never going to stand a chance when you're with a man who pulls a knife at rape point. You know, and you're never going to stand a molester, a registered sex offender who wasn't even. You're never going to stand a chance with John Q. Public because there's only one thing worse than touching children and pulling knives, and that's murder. By the way, he did go to jail for manslaughter. Oh, I think I just did the story. Nope. Get to digging. There's more wanted. Everybody get to digging. Okay.
So she was talking about Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty. So so that's his history. So that's the man she's with now. So that's who she married, it's who she had her children with. And it was interesting is I think that like if she would have gotten with Drake early on, she could have got Drake. And not that status has to, like, you have to go for the most high status guy, but we see a pattern. She wasn't really able to actually deal with masculine men and men who were actually in control of their own lives. Like to the point where now she was with Meek Mill for a little bit, but at that point, she thought when she got with Meek, I think because of how Meek is very like outspoken, very passionate, and people like that aren't always very receptive to bad traits in someone else. And she's older than Meek. Meek is like my age. So what she probably thought she was going to do was be able to control him like she controls Safari. All right. And it didn't go down like that. And eventually, you know, he outgrew, he stopped fanning out and said, nah, I'm good on this. And he wasn't together no more. You know what I'm saying? And then Meek and Drake did a few songs together. Very, you know, good outcome, right? And what else? After that, we get to Mr. Petty, right? This guy's coming out of jail. For the most part, I mean, I guess for his situation, this is the best outcome possible. For the most part, he came home to just be able to bang Nicki Minaj. That's wild. He's been like this dude. So it's another thing too about like women when they've been imprinted on. It's like, yo, it's very hard for women to like stop loving the first man she loved or someone she felt like she hadn't fully experienced. She held on to that for her entire life. And when that man has been in jail while she was doing all this work, all this work you put in, she says, all right, for my closing, the closing show, I'm marrying this dude. And hey, listen, y'all, they love each other. But he is actually a registered sex offender, which is one of the worst things a man could possibly be. Okay, one of the worst things that you could possibly be. And hey, listen, I wasn't a part of the case. I don't know the case that well. I can't say what did or didn't happen, but that's a terrible thing to have associated with you. And definitely for a celebrity like Nicki Minaj, and actually, I think it did hurt her brand. But it says something very interesting about the choices that she makes and whether or not, you know, she knows what she's doing. All right. I don't think that Nicki Minaj understood how much Safari was helping until he wasn't there no more. Because I remember like her career had a lull for a couple of years and whatnot. It was a minute before like she was relevant again. That's actually how Cardi B became very relevant, was in Nicki's like absence. Nicki wasn't really as hot no more. All right. And so anywho, I'll bring these things up because it's interesting how this all panned out. And hopefully I don't know, hopefully they work it out and whatnot. But I thought about Drake. I said, God damn it. Drake is living his best life. And I'm sure that, and I don't know how serious he might have been about Shorty, but I'm sure at one point he saw her at a very high light. And Nicki Minaj is still very attractive and everything, but she's older now. There was a time when Nicki got chunky. That shit was crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. But Nicki is a very attractive woman. It still is. Right? But she'll never have opportunity with those kind of men again. And I'm just thinking about like how things pan out when you give things time. And knowing when it's not your time, and also knowing when for all those brothers, for Safari, for Drake, for Meek Mill, everything worked out for the best. And then again, I think like Nicki still has relevance. She still has a fan base that really rock with her and whatnot. So it worked out for everyone. But I think about for Safari, right? In his own right, I think he's a success story because he still was able to take care of himself and live well without being involved with Nicki anymore. And I'm sure that he learned a lot and probably became a better man throughout this time on his own. So shout out to him. But men have to understand, whatever you give, you're just giving it out the kindness of your heart. You're not giving it to get something back from that person. Okay? Of course, people need to do right by you and keep their word, but you have to understand, people going to do what they're going to do. So anywho, shout out to Drake. Drake wins again, man. You know what I mean? That nigga Kenneth was stealing from my purse. That's crazy. Like, yo, so you just like go to jail for mad long and you just spend time in jail. When you come home, you get to just bang Nicki Minaj. Yo, listen, if Life Ain't Fair was a person, I'm just saying, goodness gracious. You know what I mean? And another thing that speaks to is like these prices. Another case study of you don't need no high value man. We're gonna close it out with that. That keeps proving my point. Nicki Minaj being with a sex offender. Nicki is 40 and still is dumping on most of y'all. I can say Nicki can give the young girls a little work. I ain't gonna hold you. That's a beautiful woman. You understand? So, anywho, yeah. So, if she could be happy, it wasn't even like he wasn't even home yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, she had her own Love During Lockup saga. She had her own episodes of Love During Lockup. She did her own Love During Lockup. Bars. Yeah, nigga, you see what I did there. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. Yep. Anywho, shout out to everybody involved, man. Shout out to all those men for leveling up and living their best life, man. And yeah, man. So there we go. I think that's gonna be that. You don't need no high value, man. You need to go ahead and just get back to basics, man. Start finger painting. Try finger painting. All right, we out, man. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. You got this far in the video, man.